Hi Year 10, this is your tutorial to show you how to draw a 2-point perspective finger joint. This is for your Unit 2 chessboard mastery checkpoint number 1. Let's get started. What you're aiming to create is the finger joint that you're manufacturing on your chessboard. You want to be able to draw this in 2-point perspective. So I'm going to talk you through it. Grab a pencil and paper, let's go. For this drawing, we are actually going to put our horizon line at the top of our page. So I'm going to draw in my horizon line. I'm going to place in my 2 vanishing points. I like to label them. My right vanishing point, my left vanishing point. Okay. Now I'm going to draw in my first piece of timber, what's going to represent my first piece of timber, just slightly to the left-hand side of center of my page. I'm going to estimate the size here. It's going to be roughly about 70 millimeters. Okay, so try and follow along the placement of my page. Okay, so I've drawn in my first vertical line. I'm going to construct a rectangular prism, and then I'm going to take away the fingers of the joint. Using a construction line weight, and that's going to be important for this drawing because we're going to be rubbing out some of our lines. So I really want to see those construction line weights. I'm going to take a construction line weight back to my vanishing point from the base of my line, and again from the top to my left-hand vanishing point, and again to my right-hand vanishing point. Okay, I'm going to place on the edge of the timber, it's only going to be roughly, I'm going to estimate that is going to be the size of my rectangular prism. And then following our rules, every horizontal line goes back to a vanishing point. So first of all, my left vanishing point, it already goes back to my right hand vanishing point. And then I don't need to place in my bottom vanishing point to my left hand because this is a solid piece of timber. I'm going to place in the back edge of my rectangular prism in between my 2 construction lines, and then it already goes to my left hand vanishing point, so I've just got to take it across to my right hand really lightly. Excellent. So that's our first piece of our joint that we're going to draw. As you can see from my first drawing, I'm going to start by taking away the top and bottom third of my rectangular prism here. This technique is called crating. So first of all, I'm going to estimate, or I could use my ruler and say that, okay, that's 7. So that means it's sort of at about 23 mil, 23.33 is where I could break up I'm just putting these really small little markers onto my edge. And then, as we know, all horizontal lines go to vanishing points. I know that I am only drawing in a sort of like the thickness of my rectangular prism there. So in this instance, I'm not going to go all the way back to my vanishing point. I'm only going to bring it a little bit back on my shape. And I'm going to do the same on this top edge. I'm just going to draw in a couple of mil of that joint. I didn't draw that one very well. Okay, brilliant. And I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to line up with my vanishing point, but I'm only coming across the face of my rectangle here. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to place in a vertical line, so I know it's got to be parallel, and I'm estimating sort of the edge of my rectangle prism here. I'm going to do the similar distance down the front face, and I'm going to draw in that line. I'm taking a break where I know that I'm deleting from my joint. I've actually done that the wrong way around, which is really annoying, so I'm going to rub that out and I'll do it again. Whoopsie days. I actually only wanted to put in the middle because of, no, I did do that right. Oh, I'm being silly. Oh, ignore me. Whoops. Okay, just pretend that didn't happen. Okay. Yes, those 2 edges of my timber. Okay, from the very top edge, I'm going to take that back to my vanishing point here. And then I am going to rub out my light lines of my rectangular prism that I drew in. I'm just going to go over this line. I rubbed it out a little bit. And from here, I'm going to take the top corner of my finger joint and I'm going to take that back to the vanishing point. I'm going to take the new corner of my timber back to my right hand vanishing point. You see, I'm not going all the way. And then I'm going to go from where those two lines intersect and I'm going to vertically join that line back up to my top face. And I'm going to go over those lines darker because I know that's the beginning of that joint. And I'm going to come out and just do the same on the top. Cool. I know I'm keeping the middle finger there of my joint. So I'm going to do the exact same on the base here. I'm going to rub out the parts of my shape I didn't need. I'm going to place this line in darker because I do need it. And then from the base of that line, I'm already going to the left hand vanishing point, so I'm going to come across to the right. I'm just drawing really lightly, so I stop. And then I'm going to find my top edge that I've already put in, and I'm just going to fill in the blank at the bottom there. And I'll go over that darker now that I've placed it in the right position. So you can see you've now created one piece of your finger joint. I'm going to just take a moment to go over the exterior lines, so the outside line's nice and dark. Okay, brilliant. And I could rub out just a couple of my construction lines that shouldn't be there, and any line that doesn't read nice and dark yet. Great. And this top edge back to my vanishing point. Cool. Alrighty. So now I've drawn in one piece of my finger joint, and I'm going to draw the second, which is actually the opposite. So I'm going to be minusing just that middle third. Okay. To get started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that front edge of my rectangular prism. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of estimate, and I'm going to bring across here where I want the base of my line to be. And I'm doing the same at the top. I'm going to say where I want that top edge, but you notice how I'm doing the exterior corner here, not the top one. And I'm going to estimate that. And so then I'm going to draw the top of my rectangular prism there. Okay, if you've got some construction lines that are in your way, you might want to just rub those out slightly so you've got a fresh side of your piece of paper. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit faster this time because I'm repeating the process. Okay, so to create my rectangular prism, I need to take all lines back to the vanishing point. On this side, I know what I'm creating, so I'm only going to do those ones smaller now. Okay, I'm going to do them a bit smaller. I want these to read the same, so I'm going to do the same sort of distance here. And I'm going to make sure I'm parallel, all vertical lines are parallel. And then I'm going to take that back to my right hand vanishing point. And once again, I'm going to sort of do the same size for my pieces of timber, so they look like they are similar. From that line that I've just drawn in between my construction lines, I'm going across the top of my shape. Okay, excellent. Now, same thing here. I want to estimate the size so I can get my thirds nicely. I've placed on my little dots here. You can just see them, and I'm going to take those back to my vanishing point. Once again, I know that I'm going to stop along my face, so I'm only drawing those a little bit. I just need to make sure that I'm using my perspective of my vanishing points. So we're starting to refine our 2-point perspective skills here slightly, not taking every line all the way back to our vanishing points. And it is here that I am going to come in, and I'm just on this face. I'm going to get it correct first time this time. I'm just going to draw, making sure my vertical line is parallel, but I'm only going between those two construction lines that I just drew. And now I'm going to get my rubber and I'm going to rub out this middle third and that back line there, because that is now the space that we've created for this joint. So left hand vanishing point, come into this, to my new little cutout here, and then I'm going to take my front corner back, and I'm just going to make sure until I hit that line, and then I bring those up to my front surface. Okay, there we go. Now to clean up my drawing, I am just going to go over my exterior edges so that they pop off the page. Remember that we should have 3 line weights on our page. We should have our construction lines that are the lightest. All of our internal lines are mid-weight, and our exterior lines, the ones that I'm drawing here, are nice and dark. Okay, brilliant. I'm just going to clean up by rubbing off some of my little construction lines here. My ruler made my page really messy, so I'm just going to rub off some of those marks. And there you have it. You've created a finger joint in 2-point perspective.